Tuesday, January 22nd, 2013, and this is the StephenBlakesley.com podcast. On today's podcast, we'll talk to Arizona's Alex Bowman. The 19-year-old will compete in the full 2013 NASCAR Nationwide Series, driving for RAB Racing with the goal of Rookie of the Year. In racing news this week, the Kern County Raceway Park schedule was released with 24 events. The brand new half-mile and quarter-mile speedways in Bakersfield will be NASCAR sanctioned for the 2013 season. The track will run a 604 crate engine division called Limited Late Models as their premier division with 50-lap main events, but also will have super late model based pro late models for 100-lap events on the half mile as well. A modified based IMCA Sport Mod has also earned dates on the half mile, while quarter mile classes will include the mini stocks, legends, bandoleros, and mini dwarfs. The grand opening of Kern County Raceway Park is April 20th, with other major events including the July 6th Fireworks Spectacular, the SRL Spears Southwest Tour on September 7th, and the October 26th NASCAR Can-Am Pro Series West for the Bakersfield 150. Madera Speedway followed this week with their schedule announcement, confirming a busy schedule of 6 Lone Mart late model races and 6 wing sprints versus super modified events. The nearly all-special event schedule also has the SRL Southwest Tour twice and the Lucas Oil Modified Tour scheduled for July. Another busy track in the news was Merced Speedway, as they were busy adding a World of Outlaws race in March and a King of the West race for June, with Petaluma Speedway adding a King of the West race in May that will be titled The Tribute to Baylands. Beyond racetrack news, the drivers of the West Coast have been busy with numerous driver announcements recently. Drive for Diversity's 2013 class will have 2 West Coasters, with Carson City, Nevada's McKenna Bell to run for the 2013 NASCAR Can-Am Pro Series East, and Jack Madrid was signed to race in the East Coast NASCAR Late Models. Turner Scott Motorsports confirmed that 2012 Can-Am West champion Dylan Kwasniewski and 2012 West Series Rookie of the Year Austin Dine will both move to the East Series as teammates in the Turner Scott squad that will have up to 5 drivers in 2013. Rounding out the driver announcements is news on the King of the West front. Evan Suggs and Andy Gregg will both scale back from full-time King of the West schedules to part-time only, with Andy Gregg focusing on a Placerville and Civil War campaign. Suggs plans to race in the California King of the West races while also making starts in the World of Outlaws, Ocean Speedway, and at the Rebel Cup. With the passing of Stephen Allard, Willie Croft will slide over to Clyde Lamar's famous number 3C and out of his family-owned number 29 car for the full 2013 King of the West. Loomis's Kyle Hurst has also been confirmed to return to Roth Motorsports in the number 83 JR for a full-time King of the West campaign as a teammate with Tim Kading. The Unlimited Racing Association was announced yesterday, the brainchild of promoter Scott Burns at Dirt Entertainment. The series will have divisions for 410 non-wing sprint cars, 360 non-wing sprints, midgets, and Ford Focus midgets. 11 dates have been scheduled across Victorville, the new Dirt Orange Show Speedway, and Santa Maria Speedway. Speaking of the non-wing sprint cars, their West Coast season will get underway over the next 9 days at Canyon Speedway Park in Arizona for the Winter Challenge. Top California drivers such as Mike Spencer, Bud Kading, and Roseville's Kobe Copeland are expected to travel to take on the best Arizona drivers with 6 main events scheduled over the next 9 days. When we come back to the StephenBlakesley.com podcast, we'll talk to Alex Bowman about his upcoming rookie season in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. But first, a look at our sponsors. StephenBlakesley.com is brought to you by MotoWear International. Throughout the world of racing, there is a common thread. MotoWear, online at MotoWear.com. And also brought to you by Lodi, California's Garcia Racing, offering modified rentals at Stockton, Roseville, and in the Lucas Oil Modified Tour for the 2013 season. And we're back on the StephenBlakesley.com podcast, and we're talking to Alex Bowman, who announced this week that he will run for the 2013 NASCAR Nationwide Series Rookie of the Year. And Alex, thanks for coming on the show with us.
Hey, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
So, Alex, you've had a fairly short stock car career after moving up from USAC cars, and you come from Arizona. How did you end up in the NASCAR Nationwide Series in the 99 car?
Well, it's been a lot of work, but like you said, just worked my way up to the open wheel stuff, and ran the E Series 2 years ago and ARCA last year, and had the opportunity to run a little bit of the nationwide stuff last year. Ran 2 races with RAB in the '99 car, and we were fairly successful. We definitely had a top 5 run going at Kentucky, and had a part failure that took us out of contention. But like you said, just really excited to be in that '99. I think it's going to be a great year. We got a great group of guys around us. Chris Rice is the crew chief. And Robbie Benton, the car owner, he's a smart guy. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Now let's go back to your 2011 season when you really kind of broke into the stock car world and you ran in the NASCAR K&M Pro Series East, and you had yourself a phenomenal season for X Team Racing, and you were 6th in the points. What was that experience like in that first stock car season, and how important was that for where you are now today as a driver?
Well, it sure was frustrating to not win anything, but definitely learned a lot. The E Series goes to a lot of really unique racetracks. Some of them I don't like so much, but I definitely feel like they taught me a lot. So it was cool to run the series as diverse as it is, but it was definitely different for me coming from the open wheel stuff, and just the style of racing was different to get used to, but picked it up fairly quickly. Wish we could have won some races, but had some stuff out of our control kind of take away our ability to do that. So it was definitely a learning year, but it was good for sure.
And then you didn't really wait around from the K&N Series. You went straight into the ARCA Series, and you got yourself 2 wins at the end of 2011. And then you went into 2012 and got yourself 4 more victories for 6 career ARCA wins. Did that ARCA success kind of surprise you, or was that something that you were expecting?
Well, I think in 2011, those 2 races we ran, it was pretty well expected. Driving for a team like Venturini Motorsports, I mean, I'm not the first person to win my first start in ARCA, especially with Venturini. It was cool to be the first person to win their first 2 starts, but there's a pretty high expectation going to Madison and Kansas last year with them. But it was still a little bit of a surprise to win both of them for sure.
We're on the phone with Alex Bowman of Tucson, Arizona, who will run for the 2013 NASCAR Nationwide Series Rookie of the Year in the number 99 Toyota. And Alex, as we continue to move through your career progression, you ran for a couple different teams in 2012 in the Nationwide Series, including for Turner Motorsports a couple of times. What led you guys to ending up in the 99 car as opposed to perhaps running for Turner?
Just a relationship that I've built with Robbie and Chris in the past. I've known Robbie for a year and a half now, and same with Chris, and just always been pretty good friends with them, and always really wanted to do something. And then to go to Kentucky and run as strong as we did, kind of solidified the idea that that's where I wanted to be for sure. So, I mean, working with Turner was great, but I just feel like it's a better situation for me. Especially to be part of the TRD camp, and just the Toyota family is really close. They share a lot of information, so I think that's going to help out a lot, and definitely going to have a great Camry this year.
Now, Alex, I know you come out of the USAC ranks, and of course, I got to see you race at Altamont back in the day in a USAC Ford Focus car. It's been a few years since a USAC driver was able to successfully make it up through the NASCAR ranks. Of course, Kyle Larson is coming up through the ranks, and now your nationwide deal. How important was that USAC experience for you in giving you the skills that you have today?
It was really important. I mean, I feel like those cars are harder to drive than these stock cars are. I mean, you have to be a little more up on the wheel with them. They're just very different styles, but they're so twitchy and everything happens so quickly that it kind of makes the stock car stuff feel slow. Whereas the open wheel stuff, everything happens really fast and everything can change in a split second. The stock car thing, you can, if you're used to everything happening really fast, it just kind of all slows down for you.
And when you look at this number 99 team,
Kenny Wallace has had some success in this car with several top tens. And with the Nationwide Series now only scoring points for drivers who run in the Nationwide Series on a regular basis, what would you say is your goal as far as the points go? Do you think you guys have a shot at a top 5?
I think so, for sure, especially with the way the points format is. I think if we're not in the top 10 points at the end of the year, we're going to be really upset, but I think we definitely have a shot at being in the top 5. I think the bigger goal is probably to win Rookie of the Year, but we'll just have to see how everything plays out. I mean, it's a long schedule and a lot of great drivers out there, so we'll just see what happens.
And Alex, when I look at someone like you, you're not even 20 years old yet, and you're already into the Nationwide Series. And I imagine that your entire life you were dreaming of going into NASCAR and you had very high expectations for yourself. Are you at all surprised at how fast this has gone? And it kind of seems like this is all going according to plan for you.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess from the outside it might look like it's gone fast. It feels like it's taken forever for me. I mean, I look at guys like Chase Elliott that are at the same point, or almost at the same point I'm at now, and he's 16, 17 years old, you know. I mean, I feel old compared to some people, but I don't know. I guess you could say it's going according to plan. I don't really think we ever exactly had a plan. We've kind of just made it up as we've gone along, but I'm definitely excited to be where I'm at. It's always been something I've wanted to do, and just to be able to race full-time against the people that I'm going to be racing against is going to be really, really cool for me.
And you know there's the saying that it kind of takes a village to raise a kid. And it's kind of that same way with a NASCAR driver. You have to have your marketing team, your PR team, the support of your parents, support of sponsors. It takes a whole lot of people to get you to the level you're at. Who are some of the people that have been really, really important to getting you to this level so far?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, my dad and my family as a whole. My dad has done a ton for me, and my family's always been there to support me. But I think definitely Joe Custer from Stewart Haas Racing is one of the reasons I'm back in North Carolina in the first place. I mean, I was thinking about moving back here, and he's like, hey, come live with me if you need a place to stay. And it's kind of how I got started coming back here. But Joe Custer, Lauren Ranier, and then Robbie. I mean, even though we went to Turner for 2 races last year, Robbie was still a big part of helping me decide if deals were good for me or not. And he's just been more of a friend than even a team owner, so he's been a big help.
And I think the last thing I want to ask you, Alex, of course, you're going into Nationwide, so you're not very far from the Sprint Cup Series, and I imagine that is your goal. If we talk to you in 5 years, where do you think Alex Bowman will be in the racing world?
Man, I don't know. In 5 years, hopefully winning Cup races, but we'll just have to see how it goes. I think what I want to happen is to run 2 years full-time in the Nationwide Series and then start trying to transition to Cup, but that's it's a tough task at hand. So, man, I don't know. 5 years from now, I think 5 years behind me where I'm at and to where I'm at now, it's been a long way, so hopefully just keep on going.
You know, Alex, it's very exciting, at least for me, and I think for a lot of people on the West Coast, that someone like you can come from USAC cars. Like I said, you were running at Altamont in a dirt car against the pavement cars back in the day. And here you are going into Nationwide, and I want to wish you good luck this year. And thanks for coming on to our radio show.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate it. It was good talking to you for sure.
We want to thank you for tuning in to this edition of the StephenBlakesley.com podcast. And a reminder, for the best in short track racing news, you can follow us on our Facebook, Twitter, YouTube page, and on the website online at StephenBlakesley.com. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you at the races.